Hey guys, it's Tiff. Hope you're doing well. Today is January 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th? January 17th, I think. Yeah. And I just wanted to update you. I actually ended up deleting the last video that I did. I couldn't get my stuff together essentially, and I didn't, my headspace was not great. So we're going to rewind a little bit. January 14th was the day that I went to the doctor's for my first prenatal visit. And I left the office after several hours and a couple of tests and an ultrasound, knowing no more or less than what I already knew going in. I got to the appointment. The appointment was at like 2 o'clock, 2:10. I get there. The office is fine. They pull me pretty much straight back, which was nice. I didn't have to wait very long. And I go and I see the midwife, and I sit down and I tell her, I've tested positive on my pregnancy test. My last period was November 20th. I go through all that stuff. The nurse asked me several times if I had ever had a miscarriage or an abortion before, like several times, like did not believe my answer. And I was like, no, I promise you, like a healthcare professional, I will tell you if I did. No. And then she was on me about my weight. Not that my weight was too high, but she was like, well, have you gained any weight since you found out? And I'm like, I mean, it's been Christmas. I haven't been, maybe like 2 pounds. I don't know. And she was like, well, what's your starting weight? And I kind of snapped at her. This was the nurse. And I was like, 350 pounds. And, I've been trying to lose weight and I fluctuate a lot, and it really is just day to day. I don't think it has anything to do with my pregnancy. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know. So she was pissed that I couldn't give her an actual answer, I guess. So anyway, the nurse leaves. The midwife comes in, and she's like, okay, well, I've seen that you've called twice about bleeding. Are you still bleeding? I said, yeah, including today. I had passed another small clot, actually, while I was at the doctor's office. But I haven't been, like, soaking, not even close to soaking like a panty liner. Like, I can sleep in one, or I can go pretty much all day with one, and it is nowhere near, like, there's usually just a few drops of blood, or like a kind of smear of blood. That's so gross. I'm so sorry, but I have to let you know, and also, I'm so sorry for the lighting. Maybe this will help. That did absolutely nothing. Oh, that's a little better. Okay. So she was like, okay, well, that could be okay. It could be fine. You could have like, it sounded scary, but it's not. It's some sort of hemorrhage, but it's just like a blood pocket, essentially. It could be that. It could be a lot of things. And then of course she was like, or it could be a miscarriage. You could be having the beginnings of a miscarriage. And I was like, well, I've been bleeding since the beginning, like before Christmas. But okay, so I didn't realize, and this is just me not knowing, that you don't go to the GYN or the midwife's office and get everything done there. I went in thinking that they were going to like pull up the ultrasound machine at the same time and do my blood work there and everything. No, that's not how that goes. So I go to the office and she says, okay, well, this is your initial consult. I think you should go get an ultrasound. And I'm like, well, fuck yeah, duh. So she gives me a referral for that. And then she also says, I want you to do lab work. I want you to go and get this initial lab work done, which is a whole bunch of stuff. I'm A negative, so they wanted to test, just make sure that is my blood type, because I'll need to get RhoGAM and a few other things. They also obviously wanted to test my hormone level, my HCG level, and my Pitocin level. So a whole bunch of them. And she actually gives me a referral for 2. One to do, and then depending on what the ultrasound said, she would want me to do another series, essentially to make sure that my levels are increasing and not decreasing. So I go to I have to pee in a cup while I'm there. And she's like, yeah, you're pregnant. And I'm like, yes, I know. And then, so I empty my bladder. I pee there. I empty my bladder. So then I go over to the ultrasound place. Luckily, everything was really local. It was like 2 minutes in the car, 5 minutes in the car, 2 minutes in the car. So I'm like, okay. So we go over and we go to the ultrasound place. Okay. I need a full bladder for it. Well, luckily I've been peeing like every 5 minutes. So I'm still chugging, like, okay, I'll drink a whole bunch of water. She says it's not going to be very long, but just make sure you're getting your water and that you have your bladder full when you have to go back. I was there in the waiting room for over an hour and a half with a full bladder. Yeah, I understand that it's a walk-in clinic, but they also have some scheduled appointments. So I get that the scheduled appointments are going back on time, like, duh, of course. But there were 7 or 8 people that had gotten there like right as I did or right after me that were taken before me. I was the last person in the waiting room. And they finally take me back. They take me back and they tell me, okay, well, pull your pants a little further down. We're going to try and do something over your belly, like not transvaginally, but, on the tummy. And, at this point I'm supposed to be 7 weeks and 6 days. So right on the 8-week cusp. So the technician, seems pretty pleasant when we get there, and she's like, okay, well, it looks like you're here for a confirmation, make sure everything's okay. And she pulled up there's the monitor that she's looking at, and then there's a monitor up in the corner that you can see while you're laying down. And she was like, well, I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to show you everything. And, like what you would think a normal ultrasound is, right? Like, oh, there's the baby. That's what it looks like. It's a little bean or whatever. Well, I told her that, yeah, we're concerned about, I've been having some bleeding and we're concerned about the pregnancy, if it's viable or not. Immediately changes her tune. Immediately turns the TV off, turns the screen so neither Ben nor I can see it, and is dead silent, like does not talk to us. And I'm like, is everything okay? She's like, I can't tell you that. You're going to have to wait for the results. And I was like, but you were just going to show me that everything was okay. Now that I've told you that something might be wrong, now you don't want to be the bearer of bad news, I guess. And you could tell that if everything was fine, she would have shown us. She didn't show us because she didn't like what she saw. And long story short, she couldn't find a heartbeat. So she did the measurements. I'm measuring 7 weeks, 1 day, which they're not super concerned about. They said that it could have, I have pretty irregular periods, so it could just be a timing thing. So not a huge deal. We're not talking like weeks difference. And it's a little reassuring. And Amanda actually said this. She was like, well, if you've been bleeding since, Christmas and you've made it to 7 weeks, like the bleeding obviously hasn't caused or didn't cause up until this point, like a major issue because it's been developing. So she's right, and that did it made me feel a little bit better, but the fact that they couldn't find a heartbeat, I'm like, okay, is it because they can't find it, or is it because it's not a viable pregnancy, like something's actually wrong and it died? And they can't tell me that. So I said, okay, well, I have to go get some blood work done. Can you please send this over to my midwife's office? And so that way they have it. So my midwife office calls literally as I'm pulling into Quest. At this point, it is past 4:30 when I'm going to Quest, and they close at 5. My midwife office is closing at 4. They closed at 4, but they have like an after hours thing. So the nurse calls me, and that's when I find out that it was measuring 7 weeks, 1 day, and that there was no heartbeat, and they definitely wanted me to go and do the blood work and then go back on Wednesday, which was yesterday, to do the follow-up blood work. And then she's going to call me tomorrow, Friday, and let me know what is going on. And Ben and I obviously we want everything to be okay. Like, that's the main goal. But because I've had, this bleeding, and I feel like it can't be good, and then they can't find the heartbeat, there is no heartbeat, I don't know. Ben and I have come to terms that it's probably going to be bad news, and I'm probably going to miscarry, and either forcibly through pills or, maybe it'll happen naturally. I don't know if I've been bleeding this consistently and it's not like actually moved and passed things along. I don't know. I might need assistance with it. I don't know. And it's, I mean, fucking terrible and horrible, and I don't want that. But I mean, what can you do? You have to be okay. Your sanity can't be compromised because something happens. So, I go and get the blood work done. They were actually really nice. It was an in and out thing, super quick. They took a whole bunch of blood, like 5 or 6 different vials. But anyway, it was real quick. And then Wednesday, I went back and they just did another serum test just to see, I guess, where I was and hoping that my numbers are going up. In the event that they go up, I think what'll happen is I'll get a call tomorrow either way. If the numbers are going up, then they'll want me to go and do another ultrasound and maybe another round of lab work just to make sure, A, it's still going up, and B, do another ultrasound and see if maybe now there's a heartbeat. Because it's measuring 7 weeks one day, 7 weeks is kind of early-ish to see a heartbeat, but not unheard of. Like, a lot of people can see it at that point. So, we'll see, and if it's going down, obviously there is a problem, and I'll probably have to come in for a consult, and if I don't pass naturally, I'll either have to have a DNC or take medicine that will kind of chemically induce things to pass. So it is incredibly hard to focus. Like, that's my main thing. Yeah, I'm sad, but mostly it's just I want to know what's happening, and I want it to I just want it to happen. I think knowing for me is more important than the actual outcome, and that sounds so mean and like heartless, but if it's not viable, I can't change that, like there's nothing I can do to be like, oh, you know what, if I just wish it a whole bunch, or I take a whole bunch more medicine, or, I take a whole bunch of pills and exercise and stuff, I think I've done everything that I can and have right, I've cut down my caffeine to like literally half of a cup a day. I am very mindful of what I'm eating. I'm very mindful of my calories. I'm not in a calorie deficit right now. Like, as soon as I found out, I'm resting. I'm not doing anything like super strenuous. I'm still trying to walk and get like, exercise in that way. And I'm trying to just, make and grow a baby. And I want the environment and my mental space to be good. And it's very hard to do that when you think that you are miscarrying, and that every time I go upstairs to go to the bathroom and I have to wipe or I have to look in my underwear, that to me is the worst part. I understand spotting is totally normal for a while, and I get that weird symptoms happen, like whatever, that's fine. But the fact that it has been literally weeks of nonstop moderate bleeding to like nothing to spotting to heavier again to changing all kinds of colors, it's just like, it's exhausting. I just want to know one way or the other, and that way I can kind of mentally say, okay, this is the next course of action, or this is, depending on what the situation calls for. And telling people that we were pregnant, just a few people, thank goodness, I was so overjoyed by their reaction, and so like, I'm so happy that they're happy in that moment. But, you can even ask Ben, I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anyone until I was like 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks. Because I was scared that a situation would arise where everyone would be so happy. We told Ben's parents, my grandpa, Keith, obviously, he lives with us, Sean and Ashley, like that's a few people. And I get these, so how are you? Ben's brother and wife, and how are you? How are things? And I'm not going to lie to them. I'm not going to say, oh, everything's fine. Like, I had a doctor's appointment. Yeah, I'm spotting. Like, they're concerned about it. Yeah, I've taken gotten some blood work done. Yeah, they couldn't find a heartbeat. So it's not pity. I know that it's not pity, and it's like kind of sympathy, kind of just I don't know what to say, but I try and say it. And Ben says it very matter-of-factly to people, like, this is what's happening. And I hate the feeling that I'm letting them down and I'm disappointing them. I know that that's like a weird feeling and I should not feel that way because I didn't do anything, but I feel it, you know, I do. And this like weird, it's like you have to rehash. It's like putting a Band-Aid on, ripping it off, putting another Band-Aid on in the exact same spot, ripping it off. Each time you're saying the same thing. The results aren't changing, but it's like, oh, I just had to say that again. Oh, I now have to hear their reaction. Oh, I have to hear them say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, or, you know, or don't worry about it, or don't stress, or like things happen for a reason. All of those things are completely valid. And I appreciate it. Thank you for being sorry. Thank you for, you know, being compassionate. I appreciate that. But it's also like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want something like this to happen and then me have to tell you, just kidding, we're not actually pregnant, or just kidding, we were, but we lost it. And maybe it's like for my own vanity reasons. Like I wanted, I don't know. I need to do some self-reflection on that. Because I know that these people love me no matter what, and they care for me, and they want to be in the know, and they want to be there kind of with me and support me in whatever happens. But I feel like when it's a negative thing, like when someone passes away, or, you know, when just anything negative happens, like I just don't like sharing those things. And because I was spotting and bleeding so early on in the pregnancy, it was like, and it was continuous. I was like, I don't think I want to tell people, you know, this to me doesn't feel normal. I don't know if it is. It could be, but if it would have avoided a lot of these like odd phone calls and texts of like, hey, how's it going? Or you looked sad today, or, you know, are you okay? Or any news, like, dude, I will let you know when I know. I'm very open with you, and I might be sad. Yeah, I might feel distracted. Yeah, I might be going in like my own head and my own emotions, and I think that's okay. I'm not like sobbing about it, but yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I want everything to be okay. That's the whole point of wanting to get pregnant and have a baby, is like the end result is to have a baby. And that might not be the case for this pregnancy. And that's okay. It sucks, but that's okay. And I don't know. I don't think there's a right thing, like, or a perfect thing that someone could say or not say. So I think it's just me being harsh. And I think it is my own vanity and insecurity and like a feeling kind of shame. Like, did I do something wrong? I don't know. I go back and forth. It's like, Tiffany, what could you have done to cause this? You know, you weren't like base jumping. You weren't like, I don't know, drinking or taking a whole bunch of medicine. You should like there's nothing that I did, but deep down it's like, ah, damn, well maybe it's me, you know, I'm the host of this, you know, thing, and maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know, but I think it's just a lot of the unknown is the concern, is the issue, and I'm hoping that tomorrow, God willing, like someone please just tell me what's going on. I at this point do not even care, I guess. I just need to know the answer one way or the other. It doesn't matter the answer. I just need one. And I'm really hoping that will be tomorrow, and they won't like sugarcoat it or like avoid calling me or whatever. Just tell me what's going on. And we'll see. But I had filmed the video on the 14th when I had gotten home, and I was exhausted. I was so frustrated, and I mean, I'm still frustrated in this video, but it's like 20 minutes of me ranting. But I'm doing okay. Ben and Keith are at a friend's house, so it's just me and Tyrion. I don't even know if you can see him. Yeah, you can see him. So we're just hanging here and in my feelings. I figured while I was by myself I could film this. But that's where we're at. So I am going to head off of here and wash my greasy, greasy hair and try and get some sleep. And tomorrow it's supposed to snow tonight, but only like an inch. So we'll still go to work tomorrow, and hopefully I'll get a call sometime, and I will update you then. But until then, I'll talk to you guys later, and I love you.